Hello everyone, welcome to the Life Insurance Awareness Month 2010 producer webinar. I hope you can all hear me well. I want to thank you all for joining us today, and to get us started, I'd like to introduce you all to the President and CEO of the Life Foundation, Marvin Feldman.
Thanks, Chris. Good afternoon, everyone. We have over 500 people registered for today's webinar, and we're very excited about this great attendance. The purpose of today's webinar is twofold. One is to educate all of you about the tools and the resources that will be available to you during the Life Insurance Awareness Month and the balance of the year. And secondly, to motivate you to get out there and make the calls. I know that's always been my biggest problem, picking up the telephone and making the calls, but we're hoping this will help motivate you to do that. There will be a replay available on Life's website, so once we're done, if you'd like to listen to this again or have other people listen to it, you will be able to log on to the site and accomplish that. The program today will be first an overview of the Life Insurance Awareness Month by John Dresner, who is the Liam campaign manager and our chief creative officer for the foundation. Following that, Chris Hill, who you just heard from, is going to go through the planning toolkit in detail. And then following that, we have a panel of agents who are going to talk about how they're using these resources. That's Gloria LaDroit, Andy Simpson, Al Zutz, and Brian Appel. So with that, John, I'm going to turn it over to you, and let's get started on what I hope is going to be an exciting presentation for everybody listening.
Thank you, Marv. And thanks, everyone, for joining us today. Just one housekeeping matter, too. This is an interactive webinar, live interactive webinar, and your lines are muted, the people who are listening in today. However, you can interact with us by typing in questions in the chat box. We'll be monitoring those questions during the call. Some questions we might be able to answer in real time, typing responses. Others we may hold on to and ask at the end of any of the panelists. So as we're going through, feel free to put questions in there, and we'll do our best to get to them near the latter part of the call. So let's get started. Let me tell you about a couple of things that Life's going to be doing. Life is the coordinator of Life Insurance Awareness Month. This is really not the Life Foundation's campaign. This is our campaign, our industry's campaign. And I think that's very significant. What Life does is great, but as Marv said, it's all about making the calls and getting out to people and getting them the insurance they need. So let me tell you about some of the things that Life is doing and some of the ways you can piggyback those efforts. First, the campaign theme for Liam 2010 is the Wonders of Life. It's actually a theme we introduced last year and was very popular. And let me tell you what that means to us. That means that we all work very hard to provide a good life for our loved ones while we're here. And we're just trying to get people to recognize that since tomorrow isn't guaranteed, they need to plan ahead to make sure if something were to happen to them, their family can still have the kind of quality of life they'd love them to have. And on the screen, you can see a few of the resources we make available to agents. Again, Chris is going to talk a little bit later about how you can access these resources and put them to work in your own campaigns in September. As an offshoot of the Wonders of Life, we also have a concept called the 7 Wonders of Life Insurance. And on the screen, you can see what those 7 wonders are. And to me, this is just a great way to structure a life insurance conversation with a client. And again, we will show you later some free downloadable flyers you can use in your practice to communicate this to your to share these ideas with your clients and prospects. And also on screen, you'll see one of our products that we sell that you can use with your clients and prospects. This is our 7 Wonders of Life Insurance scroll pen, which is a great giveaway for the September campaign. Let's switch gears now and talk about our spokesperson. Every year for Life Insurance Awareness Month, we have a celebrity who can be sort of the public face of the campaign. This year's spokesperson is an actress and model, Leslie Bibb, and on screen you can see a few of her recent credits. Most recently in Iron Man, which was out earlier this year. The reason we chose Leslie is because she has a great life insurance story. Leslie was 3 years old when her father died in an accident at work. And Leslie's story is a story of how life insurance really did save the day. Leslie had 3 older sisters and a mother who worked but never could have managed had it not been for her father's life insurance. And you will see when you go to watch her PSA online, you can see the URL there, and in the downloadable flyer, which again is in the toolkit that Chris is going to talk about, you can read about her story, which is really very beautifully told. It's my favorite line from Leslie's story is how she ends it in that flyer. She says, "The love we show while we're alive is why we live. The love we show after we're gone allows life to continue on." And that is very much consistent with the Life Foundation's message and so many of our other educational and marketing resources. Life insurance, you've heard us say many times, is not for the people who die, it's for the people who live. And Leslie's message is all about the living. And like I said, beautifully told, and I think this is a great way to get people's attention in September and beyond, quite frankly. Leslie will be featured in public service announcements. They'll be running not only in September but through the end of the year, and hopefully it will help us raise awareness and get people thinking about their need to plan. Something else that I think is very consistent with the wonders of life and with Leslie's own story, and we're very excited about, is our first ever Facebook application. Not sure who on the call uses Facebook personally or professionally. I know some folks are not allowed to really use it professionally yet. We understand that. But that said, we think that using social networking to communicate with friends, family, and even clients and prospects is something that certainly will be much more popular in the years to come. I think a lot of people are already using it. You'll hear from a few agents today who actually already use Facebook in their practices. But let me explain quickly what this is, because this is all about trying to get people to think about their need for life insurance during September. This slideshow basically allows you to create a multimedia slideshow, a slideshow set to music, that highlights what matters most to you in your life. So very much the wonders of life. So what's the most important thing? Who are the most important people and things in our life? That's what this tool allows you to do through 3 easy steps. So here on screen you can see the interface. You basically pick 5 photographs, add 5 short captions to it, and pick some music, and then your slideshow will play. And here on screen you can actually see those are my daughters. It's a 40-second slideshow. It's really great. I mean, every time I have a great picture of one of my kids, I'll post the picture. It's just a static picture with a little comment. This is so much better because it's 5 different pictures, each with its own caption. And on screen you can also see there's that call out for Life Insurance Awareness Month. It's very subtle. It's from the Life Foundation, so it's not very salesy at all, as you can tell, but it gets people to think about it. And then what you do is you actually post it to your wall or share with individual friends. So we suggest you post it on your wall. And now on screen you can see what it looks like. So the post there is from Maggie Lays, who's a colleague of mine. And people are encouraged to then watch your slideshow. These are your friends, so many of them will want to actually watch it and see these great pictures of your kids or you know, your home and the other things that are important to you in life. And at the very end of the video, there's a subtle message that says September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. Protect what matters most to you. So it's a great way to focus people on the fact that that's why you buy life insurance. It's really all about the why of life insurance, not so much the how. You buy it because you do love people and you want to protect them. Another nice thing about this campaign is that to get people to use it during September, to use a slideshow application, the best slideshow we receive, the person will receive a free trip to Aruba. So that's a nice incentive to send a note to your clients and prospects saying, hey, here's a cool new app. And by the way, if you create a slideshow during September, which is Life Insurance Awareness Month, you can win a free trip to Aruba. So it gives you a nice excuse to reach out to clients and prospects. And then if people like your slideshow, the last thing I'll say about this is they can click and say, I like it. And you can see on screen there that colorful CZZ is Comfort Zone Camp. That is the nation's largest bereavement camp for kids who've lost parents or siblings. So just really nice tie into our issues. Real life stories is probably what the Life Foundation is best known for, and we always feature new set of real life stories each September. And you can see that this year's real life stories will be in the September 20th issue of Newsweek magazine, which actually is on newsstands September 13th, so right in the middle of the month. So keep an eye out for those. We turn them into really nice flyers that you can use with your clients and prospects. Those are the 4 stories we told last year. You can find all those resources on our website. Chris will talk about that. So look for those stories. Also, for the first time ever, if you look at the bottom of the screen, we always bring these people together, so we don't just feature them in Newsweek. We bring them together for a live presentation at the NAIFA annual convention. So for those of you who will be in Seattle in mid-September at the NAIFA meeting, they'll be on stage on September 13th at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And for the first time ever, NAIFA is going to broadcast that program live across the country. So if you are not going to the meeting, as many of you won't be, put it on your calendar and watch, because it's one thing to read these stories in Newsweek, even watch the videos. It's a much different thing, much more moving experience to actually see them told live by the people whose lives have been affected. Life will also be aggressively reaching out to the news media in September. That's another contribution we make to try and, again, get people thinking about life insurance. And this year we're going to be focusing on what we call the crisis of underinsurance. Everyone knows the reason we do Life Insurance Awareness Month, the reason the Life Foundation exists, is because too many Americans don't have enough life insurance. And unfortunately, I can report, though I can't share the findings yet, that LIMRA is coming out with their new ownership study, which they do about every 5 or 6 years, and it's going to show that actually the crisis of underinsurance is worsening. And I think it's been a big part of the reason it's worsening is because of what's been happening over the past 2 years with the economy and joblessness. So sort of predictable, but pretty alarming numbers apparently. So you'll be seeing that shortly, but I think that will give us, the Life Foundation, an opportunity to engage the media in a dialogue at the national level. You all obviously can have the same dialogue with local media contacts. And lastly, the stats are important, and they're important to getting the news media to pay attention to our issues, but I think we can never forget that there are real people behind these statistics. And on the screen, you can see 6 young people who we've gotten to know through our Life Lessons Scholarship Program. It's a program where young kids are applying for college scholarships by telling us their stories of loss and the impact of losing their mom or dad at a young age. All the stories really are about kids whose parents had either no life insurance or not enough life insurance. These are the real stories that people need to hear. So we at the Life Foundation are committed to telling both the stories of how life insurance made a big difference in the form of real-life stories, or in this case, life lesson stories, very, very difficult stories that show how hard kids had to work, working 60, 70 hours a week while going to school full-time, all the kinds of things that parents don't want to have their kids have to go through. And you all on the phone today can do something about that, and we hope you'll partner with us in that effort. So with that said, I'm going to turn things over to my colleague, Chris Hill, who is going to talk to you about all the different resources available to you in the LIAM Planning Toolkit.
Thanks, John. Again, this is Chris Hill. I'm the Online and Creative Director here at the Life Foundation. I want to thank you all for joining us today. I want to quickly go through our Life Insurance Awareness Month Producer Toolkit, and then we'll get to all the great sales ideas from our agent panel today. The Life Insurance Awareness Month Toolkit really is a great resource for all you guys out there to make the most of September's campaign. It includes really a lot of different PDFs that you can download, videos that you can link to and embed, online resources. You can just see some of the icons here. You can download logos, e-cards. It really is an exhaustive resource for you that all you have to do is type in a quick URL into your computer and you'll have instant access to. As you can see at the top, the URL is www.lifehappens.org/LiamKit, and that'll take you directly to this kit. So with that, let me just kind of go through some of the pieces of it just so you're aware of what's there and how to use it. What you should see in front of you now is the top portion of the toolkit. I want to point this out because you can do a couple different things here. First, if you don't want to individually download some of the different PDFs and logos and images, there's a download all button essentially at the top there. So you can quickly just bring all this onto your computer in one click, really. I do recommend you go through each one and read some of the descriptions just so you know exactly what you're getting. But after you go through the kit, you can download everything right at the top. Also, we have a marketing guide, which is really the roadmap to the toolkit. So it will expand a lot more beyond what I'm telling you on the call today. It will really guide you in detail through the kit, but also really tell you how to use it. The materials we have are great, but they're not going to do anything unless you guys take advantage of them. So you really want to look at the marketing guide, see how you can use these. There's very simple ideas. It's just a matter of doing it. So I would start there with the marketing guide. I also want to move on to the next portion of the kit, We have 2 call-outs for Leslie Bibb, the spokesperson John referenced, and we also have a call-out for the Facebook application that he went through. I just want you to understand here that you can click on each of these call-outs and get different resources. Clicking on Leslie, you'll get her video where you can play it and watch it online. You can also download her one-page flyer, which is a great piece to send to your clients and prospects. And then for the Facebook application, it really just describes how it's used and where you can access it on Facebook, which is on Life's fan page, and you can access it there. And then I wanted to move on to just tell you that we have 3 different themes that you can choose from. Themes essentially meaning different concepts around the Life Insurance Awareness Month campaign. And these are really whatever you like best, go ahead and use it. But we have 3 to choose from this year, and Wonders of Life is the official theme that John mentioned, and is really a great theme that we're using for 2010. And it has its own toolkit for each of these themes. So you have your producer toolkit that you're going to be looking at when you go to the website, but clicking on each of these will open up a new toolkit with the theme. So it's basically 3 themes within this toolkit, so you can find even more resources depending on which theme you like the best. So we have the Wonders of Life, we have Insure Your Love, and we have the Life Happens theme, and each of those have their own resources. So whichever one you like, you can go ahead and use. And moving on, I wanted to tell you about some more of the resources in the guts of the kit. We already went through the marketing guide. The Liam fact sheet is really a who, what, when, where, how document if you want to educate yourself better or other clients and prospects. You have sales ideas. This is a great document. So you're getting sales ideas today, but you also have 12 great ideas in this document on how to make the most of September. The producer webinar you've already registered for and are on today. We'll replace that with a recording once it's ready. So in the next couple of days, check back there, and you can get a replay of this recording. And then we have a whole row down here of online resources, e-cards, videos, and downloadable flyers. Like I said, a lot of stuff, but I want to be quick about this. So let me go to the next slide to really show you what's in each of those. Online resources are really the best of that we have at the Life Foundation that you can use during September and beyond. So we have our microsite you can share with consumers. We have our links to our insurance needs calculators, the difference between term and permanent insurance product selector, and really links to videos and anything you need there. So anything online that's on Life's website, it's kind of a one-stop shop there. Then we have downloadable flyers. We have so many to choose from. You can see there. You have 9 you can download. Each really addresses a different component to life insurance and the need for it. So we highly recommend you download those, send them to clients, print them out, and have them in your office. And then with the videos, we have some really great videos that have a really emotional impact. And we have 3 new ones up top that we think if you send those to a client, they probably won't have a dry eye. I mean, some of them are very emotional and really emphasize, these wonders of life and how we need to protect them with life insurance. So it really drives that message home, and we hope you send links to those to your clients.
Chris, let me interject there too. I mean, I really do recommend that you all spend literally just 5 minutes watching a couple of these videos, especially the top 3 that Chris talked about. But Chris, in addition to sending links, and we have user-friendly links, can agents also embed these in their own websites if they're permitted to do so by their companies?
They absolutely can. Once you click on the links, you should be able to grab all these are on YouTube as well. So what you'll be able to do is watch the video on our website, have a link to YouTube where you can view it there as well. But as you know, on YouTube, you're allowed to have certain videos that have embed code. So what you have to do is just copy and paste that embed code and drop it into your website. So if you have an IT person or if you're skilled with that too, you just drop it in and it will display right there on your own website. So it's a really great and free resource.
Yeah, if you're trying to add a little luster to your website, this is a great free way to do it, because these videos, we spend a lot of time developing them. Hopefully you like them, but it's something that we really encourage agents to do to deliver these messages on their own websites.
And just moving on, wanted to wrap it out with the bottom portion of the kit. Just want to point out here that You can download the logos for Life Insurance Awareness Month. You can download our Wonders of Life logo in various formats, as you'll see in the bottom left there. We recommend you put it on your website. You can put it on different letters that you're sending out. So it's a great way just to quickly download it and spruce up your communications. As well as on the other side there, we have customizable news releases. So if you're feeling adventurous and want to reach out to the media, local media contacts, there are some great customized documents there that you can use to basically reach out to them and get yourself in the local media world. So with that, I'll end it out with also you can get educational resources through Life there. You can click the link and it'll go to our online catalog where you can get all sorts of products as well.
Yeah, that's an important point at the end there. There are thousands of agents who use Life's third-party educational pieces, print pieces, videos, etc., and they're accessible through that link. But as you saw in this toolkit, there's also literally dozens of free resources, print resources, videos. So we try to give you guys a lot of options and hope you will take advantage of it. Other thing to keep in mind, too, is these are just really supplemental resources. You all know how to market and sell life insurance clearly. You're looking for extra ideas in this call. So if the life resources help you, fabulous. If you already have your own ways of doing things and the support you get from your companies is all you need, and that's great too. We just want you to be really active in September. And with that, what I'd like to do is actually now to segue and hopefully arm you with a few additional ideas, some of which may involve the use of some of Life's materials I just referenced, but others that don't. So let's switch gears now and actually hear from you'll hear from your peers. We have 4 advisors who are going to share some thoughts with you today. Starting off with Andy Simpson from American Family Insurance, who's based in Ohio. Al Zutz from Minnesota, from Thrivent Financial. Gloria LeDroit from State Farm Insurance. State Farm is one of the most, anyone from State Farm on the call knows that State Farm is a huge booster of Life Insurance Awareness Month. Actually, all the companies I've mentioned are quite active supporters. And last but not least, Brian Appel from New Jersey, who's going to talk about some ideas, some seminar selling type ideas in the 4th slot. So let's get right to it. We will start with Andy, who's going to share, I think, 4 different ideas with you. Andy, take it away.
Thank you. My name is Andy Simpson. I've been in the industry for 13 years. I am now a sales support person in Ohio, but I was an agent for 13 years, like I said. I use the Life Foundation resources excessively. That's how I ended up on the webinar today, because I'm always ordering supplies from them. I love the real-life stories because I think it's a great conversation opener. And what I do, I've listed 3 here that I use quite frequently. What I'll do is just take a Sharpie, and at the top I would say, Joe, call me to discuss, and put my name on it. Or the one regarding business insurance, I'd say, Tony, let's discuss how your business would look without you, and put my name on it. And I follow up after they've had a chance to receive it in the mail. And it's been an excellent way to, like I said, start the conversation, puts things in perspective. It makes it not just an intangible, it makes it a real life need. So I think the stories are wonderful. I've utilized them for many years, and I have quite a library of them. The next idea that I had was scheduling a radio remote during the month of September. I pay for the radio station to come out for an hour to my agency, and during the breaks between their songs, they'd say, you know, coming to you live from the Andy Simpson Agency. Andy invited us out here to promote Life Insurance Awareness Month, and I would basically give them a handful of questions that I wanted them to ask me. An example would be, you know, how do you, Andy, you know, because it's Life Insurance Awareness Month, how would a person determine how much life insurance they need? And then I can, you know, go on with my answer as to how they would need to do a needs analysis. Another one would be, why do people insure children? That's a question I've always wanted to know the answer to. And I might, you know, then answer the question as to why people might purchase a juvenile policy. So that was a very effective tool. I never, you know, wasn't really necessarily driving business into my agency, so to speak, but more of an educational piece and a service piece. And at the very end of the remote, I would advise listeners that were, hearing the conversation or hearing the topics that I was discussing to reach out to their advisors and make sure that their life insurance needs were taken care of. And then the next idea was basically a very grassroots type of an idea. I was from a very small town, so in an attempt to make them a call to action, so to speak, I would run a promotion during the month of September, and if they came in to sit down for a needs analysis, whether they were an existing client or somebody who just wanted to know more about life insurance, if they came in during the month of September and sat down and did a needs analysis, no purchase necessary, their name was entered into a drawing. And again, it put a timeline on the discussion, the needs analysis presentation. So at the end of the month, I just gave away a gift card for a local restaurant. So worked out well. I know one specific September, I did end up writing 10 life applications that month, and I'm a PNC company primarily, so 10 policies issued within the month of September was a pretty good activity month for me. So with that said, the following idea was the any of the free marketing, and I know they touched on that, but in this economy, and again being a small agent and always looking for where my advertising dollars were going, I found that it was resourceful to use a lot of the free marketing ideas. We've jumped on with the capturing email addresses for every new customer as they come in, and we send out a lot of our correspondence via email. But this e-card was a great way, and this particular card has a lot of humor to it, so it was one that I utilized quite a bit. But yes, a free way to promote the awareness of life insurance to my existing clients.
And Andy, we have a lot of PNC agents and PNC companies that we work with the Life Foundation, and I think it is a challenge for a lot of PNC agents to, push life insurance into the forefront. Is that one of the reasons you like Life Insurance Awareness Month? It's almost like an excuse, like this will be the month. I know that I have a lot of homeowners and automobile insurance clients that this is the month that myself and others really should focus intensely on that. And does your company support that too?
Yes. American Family has really promoted Life Insurance Awareness Month. They have advertising and posters and the rubber bracelets that we wear. And, real honestly, I sold it throughout the year, but it was another excuse for me to bring up the topic again. So if I had talked to somebody but the timing wasn't right, I would just start the conversation as, I know I've talked to you about life insurance before, but because it's Life Insurance Awareness Month, I'm trying to talk to all my customers again just to see if there's an opportunity for us to sit down and go over that again and maybe get that need taken care of for you. So it was just an excuse to bring it up again.
All right. I think that's a good way to put it, too. It's an excuse. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to buy life insurance because it's Life Insurance Awareness Month, but I think as you'll hear from the next few speakers, too, it's basically an excuse for agent activity, and maybe it'll resonate a little bit with the public, but I think our next speaker certainly would attest to that. So let's switch gears now. Thank you, Andy, and we'll switch to Al from Thrivent Financial, who's going to share 3 of his ideas. Al, take it away.
Hi, my name is Al Zutz. I work in Bemidji, Minnesota, way up in the northern part of Minnesota. I've been in the business for about 2 years, and the first idea that I use is just regular old advertising. The first ad that you're going to see here on the top is the ad that I run. We have a newspaper that prints 6 days a week, so obviously I'm not running it every time, but every Sunday in September, our office runs the Life Insurance Awareness Month, and this is our ad from last year. And this is one that goes through compliance at our company and gets printed out for us. And then the next one that I do is the radio script. And this is in another county that I work here by Bemidji. I use this because I can get 400 radio spots for $300 in the smaller radio station. And then the first part of the ad that I'm using here is off the Life Foundation's website, and then the next part of the ad is something that Thrivent had come up with for us. So I run those 2 ads each September, and I plan on doing it again this year.
So Al, Thrivent gives you helps you with the script and copy for these things?
Yeah, the main little script for the newspaper ad in the middle, that is given to us by Thrivent. So I just use that part, and I replaced the heading that they had with the Life Insurance Awareness Month, September 2009. And then also when you get down to the radio script, from life insurance may not be a popular topic down, Thrivent gives us all of that script, and I use that after going through compliance.
Yeah, so I think that's an important point. You heard both from Andy and Al. Companies really do provide a lot of support, and I think a lot of advisors and agents don't necessarily reach out to their companies to find out everything that's available. So I would strongly encourage that. I know that the two companies you've heard from already are good examples of that. And Al, you seem to get a decent response from these ads?
Yeah, the best response that I get is probably from the radio ads over in the other county that I work in. That I don't have a physical presence over there. I mean, all the visits I do are in people's home, and I've got probably 8 prospects to call in the 2 years that I've done the life ads over in that county.
Great.
And then the next idea, I do targeted personalized mailings. And basically what I do is I look through ads at churches that I attend, since I work for Thrivent Financial for Lutherans. And if I hear people having a baptism, or if you see an announcement in a local newsletter that somebody had a child or something like that, or newspaper announcements. I know that both of the papers that I read give birth announcements each week. And then the latest one that I've been using a lot is Facebook. So all the people that are my friends, I'm 27 years old, so a lot of people in my age group are having children right now. So basically what I do, if I hear of people that are having children, I'm going to contact them either through a mailing or a phone call, and each time I'm going to send out one of the real-life stories with the mailing, and then a personalized cover letter that I either handwrite or type out, and normally it's a handwritten letter.
And you had pretty good experience with that as well, right?
Yes, that's probably a lot better than my radio and print advertising campaigns.
Yeah, probably because of the personalization, I would imagine.
Yep, and it's people that I know most of the time.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I do each September is I have a clear plastic display case on my desk, and each month I put each September I put a note up that tells people that September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. I follow it up with a small question below it, and I mean, you can customize that however you want. And then I always put over or underinsured, because one of the comments that I hear most often is people are like, I feel like I'm insurance poor. And then we actually go through and do a needs analysis, and they find out that they need more. So those are the 3 ideas that I do every September.
Fabulous. Okay. Well, good luck this coming September, Al. Thank you for sharing those ideas.
Thank you.
All right. So let's switch now to Gloria from State Farm. Gloria, what I like about what Gloria does is that she really taps into a lot of the resources that are available to her, not really necessarily from the Life Foundation so much, but from her local association affiliations and from her home office. So, Gloria, take it away.
Well, I'm Gloria LaDroit. I'm a 30-year agent with State Farm, and I really like the information and opportunities that the LIFE group provides for agents. As you can see on the slide here, we have joined together as NAIFA members to get people started talking about Life Insurance Awareness Month without us having to do much of anything. We turn this project over to our local newspaper, and they have the list of all our members, and all our members get listed in the full-page ad, which if we were to go out and just buy it would be about $2,000. But we get the organization's list of members, and the newspaper calls them and says, you're going to be listed in this spread, and would you like your picture to be included? Well, then the individual member pays for their picture. And a lot of agents take this, and after it's published, they hang it up in their office. And even when you're out there on the street, some people will come up to you and say, hey, I saw your picture in the newspaper. And you can say, oh, yes, that was because Life Insurance Awareness Month is coming up in September. And it's a way to get the conversation started and make the client basically start the conversation without you having to exert so much effort, which I think is nice. After 30 years of effort, getting the client to start the conversation is always good. Then as you can see, we include information from LIFE. The 7 Wonders of Life Insurance was one of the things that we featured in our spread last year. We also include the NAIFA Code of Ethics, just so that people know why this group is here and kind of what we're doing. We're serving the public. We're doing the best we can to protect their interests, to protect their families. And it's really an attention-getting page when there's the whole page of the newspaper is the agent's pictures and Life Insurance Awareness Month. We actually do this 3 times a year. We do it once in September. We do it in January when the newspaper does a financial fitness spread. And they have a lot of different things about learning how to manage your finances. Then we also do it in May for the Life Insurance Awareness Month.
Disability, I think.
Yeah, disability is May.
Super. Well, so why don't you talk about how you take this great idea for print and you move it over to radio and TV?
Well, we have the opportunity out here to have not only the radio but the television with free ways to spread the information. Our local radio station has basically a local talk show in the morning, every morning. And we just contact them and say, we've got these 3 agents who would like to come on and talk about Life Insurance Awareness Month. And we get 3 agents from different insurance companies, and we try to do it right after the spread has come out in the newspaper. So it's just a reinforcement of the fact that, you know, we are professional agents. We're here to do the best job that we can to protect you and your family. And so the agents go on the radio program, and then we also have a television program that's very similar. It's local in origin, and we get 2 or 3 different agents from different companies to go on the television program and do the same thing. We use the pre-list, basically, of questions that we give to the host or hostess of the show, and that helps get the conversation moving along and includes all the topics that we want to include.
Yeah, I think that's a great example, too, of agents in a community really coming together, and sort of the rising tide lifts all ships. If you get people throughout the community to think about life insurance, all the agents in the community will benefit. Tell us about some of the things that you do with the support of your company.
Well, as you can see from the slide there, State Farm is very involved in working with the LIFE group, and they are really tagging on to the LIAM, Life Insurance Awareness Month efforts. And as you can see, it's getting some results out there. Your companies, a lot of companies, are becoming much more interested in tying into this type of a group effort, which highlights that it is a real public concern. It's not just a salesperson out there trying to push something on you. It's people who are professional, who care about you and your family. And the company is always very good about adding to what LIFE has to highlight the topic and help agents spread the word and get the information out there and help people protect their families.
And I would just say, too, Life Insurance Awareness Month is about getting people the coverage they need to help them achieve financial security and avoid a financial crisis. But as you can see, it's also a fabulous selling opportunity. State Farm's numbers, if you just look at them for a second from last year, were fabulous. They really support this campaign. They plan way in advance, give their agents a lot of support, and their agents do what Andy said before. They're a P&C company, but they really focus on life insurance in September and into the fall, and it really can make a big difference in terms of giving your own practice a boost. So definitely something you'll want to focus on a lot this year if you haven't done it in past years. And Gloria, you want to finish up with your last idea, sort of similar to what Al does in his office?
Well, we try to use some of the most thought-provoking things from LIFE to get people talking. And if they don't have a company insignia on them, that's fine, because they are very thought-provoking to the people that come in. And everybody has a computer on their desk. And, the back of your monitor is basically blank, or the end of it if that's what's facing the client when they come in. And so if you put one of these flyers on the end of your monitor or on the back of your monitor, they're sitting there while you're processing whatever it is, whether it's a payment or change of vehicle or whatever they're doing, and they're sitting there looking at that, and they're thinking, oh my goodness, I do need to talk to them about that.
Absolutely, and this just as a point of information is our Life's Because You Love Me flyer, and this is the most popular print piece that Life offers. So literally millions of these have been spread to clients and prospects around the country through advisors and agents like you. So if you haven't seen that one before, it's worth a look on our online catalog. Really great emotional piece that really engages people and has been used to schedule a lot of life insurance appointments. So let's thank you very much, Gloria. We're going to finish up now with our last agent sharing his ideas. And Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great. Thanks, John. And thanks to the Life Foundation. These calls are great, so we appreciate it on behalf of everybody on the call. John mentioned at the front about seminar selling. I'm sure we all have some kind of experience with seminar selling. I've been in the business about 16 years now, much of that as a wholesaler. So I can tell you from experience, I've done literally thousands of seminars, but I want to focus on three specific things that aren't the normal get a big hotel room, try and fill it with 50 strangers. We do three different things. The first thing we do is workshops. We conduct workshops either at a client's work site or ideally a prospect's work site to find some new clients. But the concept of Life Insurance Month is perfect with September. September's back to school. Everybody's thinking education. Every one of our clients are talking about if they have kids. It's just the timing is perfect, and we spend a lot of time in September on events, specifically the three events I'll talk about: workshops, education events for professionals, and then these private client briefing dinners. But in the workshops, the two pieces you see here we use are great talking points. They're great conversation starters. The first one, the Take Charge. If you're not using it, it's a great primer if you do basic financial planning, and you can do so many launching points from either one of these pieces. The one on the left in particular, if we hand this out during a workshop, we'll have a conversation about the top 10 things for taking charge of your life to get your financial house in order. And we educate clients on all these different pieces. But if you notice, if you look through this piece, 7 of these 10 things can very easily tie into a life insurance conversation. And more often than not, we'll say which 1 or 2 of these things are most important to your family. And then obviously the question you want to ask is, how would your life change if you didn't have that? And usually it's life insurance. If you didn't have that, how would your life change? So the Life Happens pieces are wonderful leave behinds or handouts. The Leslie Bibb thing's going to be great for this month as well. And then the other piece is the conversation starter. How much do you need? I think that's a great question to ask, is how much do you think is enough? And inevitably, you're going to have clients saying, I think I have enough, or maybe 100,000, and it really should be $500,000 or $1 million or $2 million or more. But this piece is great for educating clients, the what you need to know. And then the worksheet in there is a great primer. It's a primer for, let's just walk through some numbers. And then all of us at our own companies, AXA Advisors is the company we clear through, has some great software that complements this conversation primer to really move them towards, all right, here's the right kind for you, and here's the right number to get you to. So the workshops are great with these two different pieces. The second piece here, second concept, is education for professionals. Idea number 2 here is CPE and CLE. All of us are advisors that have securities license. You have to have insurance. You have to get those CEs every year. Well, the attorneys and CPAs also have to get those credits. So we spend quite a bit of time educating attorneys and CPAs doing these educational events, and we share the same concept with them. They're also clients themselves, consumers themselves, but it's important for CPAs and attorneys to know what we do and how we do it. And again, the educational piece for September, the Life Insurance Month, is a perfect time. They're just getting back into the groove after summer. They're just starting to get busy again with their accounting and law practices. So I think September's a good time. Even if you don't teach the CPE and CLE, do a workshop for a group of accountants in your area, or get on the local CPA board or the local attorney board. There's all kinds of different things you can do to get involved. But educating them makes you a professional resource as well. And then the last thing, this is really our favorite thing, is the private client briefings. We call them PCBs. We moved away from, in our practice, the big seminar selling type of concept because at the end of the day, if you have 50 people in a room, you might have 10, maybe 15 if you're lucky, that will really have a conversation with you. A lot of the rest of them, we call them plate lickers. They come for the free meal and the free information. They move on. But the private client briefings, the concept of that is, well, if you have 50 people that you invited and 10 or 12 are really interested, let's go out of our way to find those 10 or 12 people that will be really interested anyway, and let's have a conversation with them over a private dinner. Instead of doing a big buffet type of thing or cheap fast food, let's do a really nice dinner with some wine. And we call it a private client briefing because it's a conversation. We sit around a nice big table, and then we talk of the topic du jour. And in this example we have here, retirement challenges, market corrections, tax changes, we're absolutely going to talk about Life Insurance Awareness Month and the importance of having it. And the conversation might be as simple as, who wants to buy life insurance? You make a joke about that. And then the question is, who can live without it? So it's the primer of the timing, I think, is perfect. The Life Insurance Month, along with education, along with the different ways to get in front of groups of folks. And then certainly at the end of the day, you want to get these folks one-on-one to press forward with, hey, it's important we have this conversation. And if someone hasn't approached you about why you might need life insurance, most people, as we all know on the phone, are not going to raise their hand and just go out and buy it on their own. So I think it's incumbent upon us to get out there as much as possible, as often as possible to have these conversations. And this is the 3 main ways that we'll do it this fall.
Brian, I guess you wouldn't have done hundreds or thousands of these if they're not effective. So you really find that there is a lot of follow-up to these, both with the individual clients and with the professionals who you're looking for referrals from?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the key is getting a good crowd. You want to handpick the crowd and keep it small. I really can't emphasize it enough. Keep it small. I think the number you want is about 15 or less, because then it's personal, it's intimate, and the follow-up is much easier. And literally at the dinner, usually what you want to do at the dinner is while everyone's leaving, you have a quick conversation. Hey, I'd love to grab coffee with you next week. How's next Thursday morning, whatever. And you really set the appointment at the dinner. Or you follow up the next day and say, hey, I hope you enjoyed our night. Let's get together. So these things definitely work. They absolutely work. More so than the generic, there's no attachment to you, big type of seminar.
Right. I also like the way you talk about how you sort of use the life stuff to be this third-party information. So, hey, this isn't Brian or even AXA or any company telling you what. Here's third-party educational information to give you a general sense. And then if they decide they have a need, then you come in with whatever solutions you recommend with whatever companies that you may be affiliated with.
That's the whole point. It's about education. You're not pitching anything in particular. You don't even talk about a specific product. You talk about life insurance as a concept. And right. I think people really do appreciate that you're educating them and not pitching them.
Right. Super. Okay. Fantastic. Well, thanks very much to our 4 presenters. And now is the time when you all can have some of your questions asked. So I'm going to turn the rest of the call over to my colleague Chris Hill, who's been monitoring the chat room during the call. Chris?
Yep. Thanks, John. And if people have questions that you haven't submitted yet, go ahead and just send them in the chat question box. on your screen there. And Brian, I know we just ended with you. We did get one question that came in about your flyer that wanted to know what the name of that flyer is that you use for the CPE seminar.
That's just something that the co-sponsors, the hosts, they put together the invitations. When we do these, we try and get a sponsor. In this case, if you notice, it's Leisure Park. That's a senior living. It's not an assisted type living. It's wealthy folks that have senior living type. So that was the location. The Investors Bank, it was the sponsor of the event. So they put out the invitations. I'd encourage you to do that too. If you can always get a sponsor to pick up some of the meal or the space, it's a co-branding, and it worked out great for them. So they put this together for us. It's not anything in particular other than they went to a printer and put this together.
Great, thanks, Chris. We also had another question come in. Gloria, this might be fielded for you. Someone wanted to know about that NAIFA ad that you did, and wanted to know, when does NAIFA offer that ad, and do you think it's too late to contact them for Liam?
Well, actually, the ad is something that the newspaper puts together. The materials are basically taken from Life products and then also from NAIFA, the Code of Ethics, and it's just something that we put together, and we've checked with NAIFA to make sure that we're doing everything according to their rules too. But ours, basically, we haven't even gotten the list to the newspaper yet, and we're planning on it publishing at the same time that the NAIFA national event is going on.
This is John. I'll just chime in too. Gloria's local association is not unique. There are dozens across the country that do it. Obviously, there's many hundreds of NAIFA chapters, so I would encourage any local NAIFA leaders to organize these types of things. I love the fact that the newspaper does so much of the work. So it may not be too late, but even if it is, you heard that Gloria says that they take advantage of this in all of the various awareness campaigns that Life sponsors, and there are certain associations that do it every single time. So it's a great thing to think about in your local community, and when you share the cost, you really can get some great visibility at very little cost to the individual members. Life also has a co-op advertising program, and I think we actually have allocated all of our money for this Life Insurance Awareness Month, but for local NAIFA leaders, we match up to half the cost of the advertisement if you sign up on the first-come, first-served basis. So something to think about for future Disability Insurance Awareness Month and Life Insurance Awareness Month campaigns.
A couple people are asking if they can get a copy of this presentation and also the recording to watch later, and we'll definitely do that. So everyone that's registered, we'll send up a follow-up link or a follow-up email to you that'll have links to the presentation and the recording of this webinar. A couple other questions are coming in. A couple people want to know, John, if you can answer this, when the media ads will start airing this year for Life Insurance Awareness Month, and Leslie did.
Sure. They actually should start showing up very shortly. Just so everyone knows what they are. They are public service announcements, which means that Life pays to produce them, and they have been produced now, and they've been distributed to literally thousands of radio stations and television stations across the country. What that means is that we can't guarantee where and when they'll play, but basically it's like free advertising to us. Last year, just to give you a sense, our spokesperson was an actor, Chris Noth, from Law & Order and Sex and the City, and we literally got something like 100 million media impressions, and we had pickup in about 60 or 70 different markets around the country. So they really were quite broad-based, but you never quite know. But we'd be happy to let people know. The other thing is, if you want to try and make the extra effort to make sure her message is seen in your community, you can contact me at the Life Foundation. I may be able to get you an extra CD with the spots on them, and maybe you could send it to a local producer you know. That's totally fair game. And again, you wouldn't be paying. You'd just be bringing this opportunity to a local media contact. So feel free to reach out to me.
A question came in. I think anyone on the panel can answer this. Basically, they want to know, what tool do you recommend for a new or young advisor that has little or no experience in selling life insurance, and how to use it as a needs analysis? Are there any tools that the advisors would recommend? I know from the Life Foundation we do have the Life Insurance Needs calculator that you can give to consumers to calculate how much life insurance they might need. We also have a life insurance needs one-page flyer that you can send to a client. They can fill it out and calculate how much they need. Does anyone else on the panel use something?
Yeah, this is Brian. I would on the first slide that I showed, those two pieces we use quite often. So as far as just basic primers, the take charge piece is great about general planning, and then what you need to know about life insurance we give to every single client because it's such a great generic piece on what life insurance is, the different types of life insurance, and then the calculator piece, the life insurance needs analysis is right in there. There's also one-page breakaways that we use. We don't particularly mail those to clients because I think you need to walk clients through that. So I would just say get well-versed in this specific piece. If there's no other piece you use, it would be the what you need to know about life insurance.
We have another question. Al, you might be able to answer this one. We had someone wanting to know if, in your experience, do the local newspapers provide a no-cost opportunity to submit the news releases that maybe you've done with them or the ad that you've placed with the newspapers?
I've had some luck with the smaller newspapers around the area, but not a lot of luck with if you have one that runs every day, it's going to be tougher to get in that. But if you have smaller weekly newspapers around the area, that's usually better.
And I will tell you, too, it's John, that I've actually been in touch over the past few days with someone from the Thrivent home office. Al works with Thrivent, and they provide their advisors with 3 different customizable press releases that go through Thrivent compliance, I suppose. So they actually, you don't have to do anything other than literally insert your name into this customizable press release. And as you saw in Chris's presentation earlier, Life also gives you 2 generic press releases as well that come from us, so you can use those. But definitely, I think the message that you're hearing in a lot of these presentations is reach out to your companies because so many of them produce these resources, and I think many times it's just tough to get the word out that they're available, but I think they're there if you make the calls.
I know that I used them in my publication, my local newspaper, and I would send my photo in with it each time, so it put my picture, my face next to the ad. And anytime you can get that for free, that's fantastic opportunity. So I took advantage of it every time I could.
And I would say if you put an ad in, it's probably a good time to send in that news release to see if they'll run that at the same time as your ad.
Sending it a couple weeks before Life Insurance Awareness Month.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. All right, Chris, we have time for one last question.
Yeah, Brian, you might be able to help with this one. We got a question and comment that one agent has a group of women that meets every month, and they want to know what would be the one simplest and most direct idea that P&C agents that sell life as a sideline what they should use for that.
Do you want to direct that towards Andy or towards me?
Either one.
Andy, you want to give a crack at it? You're the P&C rep?
Yeah, I don't mind. One thing for a woman, I think probably any of the real-life stories are good handouts. Not knowing each personal situation, whether they're single mothers, whether they're business owners, a lot of those can strike a chord and open up a conversation. And I do believe women buy from women, so I obviously took advantage of that opportunity quite frequently. So yeah, I'd say that the real life stories would probably be a good tool for that.
Yeah, we just did focus groups at the Life Foundation with some consumers, and really the emotional stuff like real life stories, stuff like that Because You Love Me ad. We just saw how much that really resonated, especially with women. We did a focus group with women in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. It really does work, and I think the life resources can supplement other resources that you use in your own practices. So I just want to thank everyone. I'm glad we had time to get some questions in. Just want to thank you for taking time out of what I know is always a busy schedule, even in August, to join us today, and really appreciate it. It shows that you have a real commitment to making the most of this opportunity during Life Insurance Awareness Month. Couldn't do it without you, and we thank you so much for taking the time today. And look for to go back to our website. As Chris said before, he'll get a link up there within a day or two where others in your company and your agencies can take a look if they missed today's webinar. So on behalf of everyone on the call,